Good morning. Welcome back. Welcome back to another Member Focus Monday. It is just became 9 a.m. right now, so I'm going to give everyone just a couple seconds to get logged on, and then we will begin. Good morning. All right. See what time we have. Just still 9 o'clock, and I see a lot of people signing on, so we'll give it right till about 9:01, and we will get started. And I see Sherry there saying hello. Hello, Sherry. Good morning. Okay, it is 9:01, so we're going to get started. My name is Christina Schaefer. I am one of the on-staff instructors for HAR as well as the social media manager for HAR. I do teach quite a few different classes like MLS classes, social media classes, technology, things like that. So I'll put up my email address at the end for you if anybody wants to reach out to me regarding any HAR class. If you have questions about that, I'm happy to help you with that. Today our focus today for Member Focus Monday is Statistical Reports. It is July 2nd, so we've started a new month. Now, if you're not aware, the communications department here at HAR at the beginning of every month on the first weekday of the month, which would be today, we release what's called the Fresh Report. It stands for First Real Estate Snapshot of Houston. So the Fresh Report is kind of a preview of what's to come in the full MLS press release. So later today, usually right around noon, we release that Fresh Report, and that's going to tell us what happened in Houston, kind of a preview of what happened in Houston for the previous month. So we'll have an idea of what happened in June around noon today. Then usually on the second Wednesday of every month, we put out the full MLS press release. You guys get an email about that as HAR members. You will see it splashed across all our social media platforms. And then usually the following day is when you'll start seeing updates about it on periodicals or different news outlets like the Chronicle and different places like that. You'll see what happened. So again, the first weekday of every month, which in this case is today, we release that Fresh Report, and the second Wednesday of every month, we release the full MLS press release. Now, the reason I'm telling you guys that is because usually the feedback that we get a lot of times with those press releases is, hey, what about specifically my area? Maybe I work in the Meyerland area. What happened in Meyerland? Or something like that. So that's kind of what I want to show you guys how to do today in Matrix. So this is something you can actually pull up yourself in Matrix. So you'll get the full MLS press release. You'll get the Fresh Report today and the full MLS press release, again, the second Wednesday of every month. But if, let's say you see that, that's great to know. But maybe I want to focus on my area specifically, right? So that's what we're going to do today. So I'm already logged into Matrix. And I see somebody said they can't hear. So if somebody doesn't mind putting in the comments, if somebody will type in there for me to Luz to turn up her volume, that would be really helpful because it seems like everybody else can hear me pretty well. So alrighty, so in stats, right up here at the top of Matrix, we see stats on the top navigation bar. So I'm going to go ahead and click on stats, and here we are. Okay, so thank you guys for that feedback there and letting her know to turn up her volume. Alrighty, so I'm in stats. Now, in here they do have system presets. Average days on market versus list price, historic sales, list prices versus square foot ratios, original price versus sold price, sale price to list price ratios, things like that. So they have some presets in here that you can use and then customize your statistics from there. So let's say, for example, I want to find, let's see, list price by square foot ratios. Great, and it looks like Lou's has her audio now. All right, list price by square foot ratios. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select that preset. Now I want to come over here and specify what exactly am I wanting to see list price by square foot ratios for, right? So first off, I could select the property type. So in this case, I'll do single family. And then I can select a lot more criteria, basically. From here, I could click on map search and I could draw a specific area on the map that I want to see list price to square foot ratios for. I could do a particular geo-market area, or maybe if I very generally want the area number, city, zip code, subdivision, legal subdivision. So these are all location options for me. Everything from drawing on the map to, subdivision, those are all options for me here, okay? So let's say in this case, I'm going to do list price by square foot ratios, and I'm going to do them for Magnolia Creek. Okay, so I'm just going to type in Magnolia Creek there. So at this point, my criteria is list price by square foot ratios, single family, Magnolia Creek, okay? There are times where maybe you have a subdivision and that there's a similar subdivision in a completely different area. So if I were nervous about that, I could put in, a zip code. Oops, wrong zip code. I could put in a zip code there just to verify that I'm only getting the Magnolia Creek in 77573. Again, that's optional. You don't have to do that. Then from there, let's say maybe I want to put in more criteria. Maybe I want the list price by square foot ratios only at a particular price point, right? Maybe I'm looking in the higher end properties in Magnolia Creek, so I put in a higher price range. Or I could do other criteria like I only want to see the 4 bedrooms or the 5 bedrooms or something like that. So I could put in more criteria, but I'm just going to leave it kind of general like this just so we can see a lot of numbers here and see what this looks like. So before I just go and click the generate button, I do want to customize this a little bit more. If you see up here where it says presets, to the right of that it says customize. So when I hit customize, I can choose a time frame. So we see the default here was to be the past 5 years. If you click on that, you'll see a lot of other options. I can do year to date, past 12 months, previous year. I could even do the past 10 years. There's even a custom option. So I can really get in there and customize that as much as I want. So I can have as much or as little data as I want. So maybe, I only wanted year to date. I could just see what's happened in 2018. So I'm going to do, in this case, past 12 months. I'll go ahead and select that there. And I've already chosen the statistic I want, list price by square foot ratios. Now the chart type, and this is something that you can maybe play with after you've seen what this is going to produce. It starts with smooth line is the initial option there. I could do columns, I could do a line, I could do an area. So it really kind of depends on the statistic that you're using, which one looks better. I'll do columns in this case. I think columns are one of the easiest to read, so I'm going to select those. And then it's going to group it by month, and I have different selections there as well. So let's say at this point, I've got my information in. I know I want the last 12 months. I'm looking at columns here. So now I'm going to click generate. And there we go. So these are the list price by square foot ratios for Magnolia Creek for the last 12 months. So it's pretty, not too difficult to tell here what these numbers are based on how this chart looks. But if maybe I thought it was a little too difficult to read, if you see up here in the top right-hand corner where it says data, I can click data and see the exact dollar amount, okay? So for June, it looks like it was $123, okay? Now, you can, at this point, go back in and customize further. I made it pretty general, right? I just put the whole subdivision. I didn't put any, other factors or attributes for the property at all. I just did that as a whole, but you can kind of see that it's easy to put in that data, and then very quickly you can see the chart and the exact dollar amounts for the list price by square foot ratios here. I do have the option to export this data as a CSV, so I can click that button and it's going to get ready to export it for me. I can also, if you see over here on the right-hand side, I can print or email this as well. So you do have options to share this criteria from here as well. So if I have a client who's maybe interested in listing a home in this area, or maybe they're wanting to purchase a home and I'm doing a different statistic or even purchase for this information, I can email it or print it from there. I can export as a CSV, things like that. Okay. Now let's say maybe I work this subdivision a lot. Maybe this is my prime farm area. I'm constantly listing and selling homes in this neighborhood or whatever the case is. And instead of having to rerun this data, put in this criteria every time I want to see what the updates are, I'd like to have it saved to save me some time, right? So if you see on the left-hand side where it says save, if I click that, now it's going to give me the option to name this statistic here. So list price by square foot ratios, and I can just put in Magnolia Creek. Okay. Do I want to save it as a preset? Yes. And then also you can choose to save it on your home screen on your stats widget. So I'm going to save that so you can see what that looks like. And then hit save a copy. So now I've saved that. Okay. So I'm going to click the home button to get out of here and go back to my home screen just to show you that if you see on my home screen here under where it says my stats, I now see list price by square foot ratios for Magnolia Creek. So it's saved there. It's easy for me to just click on and see the new data, right? And so every time I click on this, whether it's been a month, whether it's been several months, a year, whatever the case is, the new data will automatically generate there for me, okay? So I don't have to rerun that criteria every time it's saved there for me. Okay, and then of course, let's say that I pulled this up, but you know what? I needed to be a little more specific this time. I could still click up here on the right-hand side where it says search and put in more specific data or criteria. Okay. So let's try another one. I'm going to start the whole process from the beginning so that everybody can see it all over again. So how I did that. All right. So I'm in Matrix. On the top navigation bar, I see stats. So I clicked on stats. And I have my system presets on the left-hand side here. And I see a couple questions popping up. That's why I keep pausing. How do you get price to square foot ratio? Okay, so I'll look at those questions in just a second and answer those in just a second. So I've clicked on stats, and earlier I did list price by square foot ratios. So this time, let's say I want to do sale price to list price ratios. Okay, and I'm going to do single family. And again, I'm doing single family in this example, but rentals are right there, lots, townhome, condo, all those options are available for property type. I'm just using single family as my example. Okay, and let's say in this case, again, I could do something like geo market area and see what happened in an entire market area, wherever that may be, area number, zip code, city. In this case, I'm going to do subdivision again, and this time, let's do Garden Oaks. Okay. And I can put in more criteria again, but I'm just going to leave it at that. So before I hit generate, just like last time, I want to go up to customize, choose my time frame. So I did past 12 months last time. Again, I could do year to date, I could do a particular year, I could do the past 5 years, past 10 years, or custom. Let's do past 12 months again. Now, last time I changed my chart type to column. I'm going to leave it on smooth line this time just so you can see what that looks like. But of course, I could always come back and change it if I don't like how it looks. Okay. So now I'm ready to generate the information. So go ahead and generate. So again, in this one, I did the smooth line. All right. Now, you might find that easy to read. Somebody might find that difficult to read. So this is why on the chart type, you do have options. You can do columns, lines, smooth line, area, smooth area. So let's just say maybe I did area. And that looks a little more jagged. Maybe I want smooth area instead. I find that the columns typically work no matter which statistic I'm doing. So I tend to lean towards the columns as being the one that I use the most, but you're welcome to use, any one that you see is appropriate for what you're doing, okay? And then I'm going to group by month, again, in this case, and you see it's already generated there for me. So I can see the sell price to list price ratios here for Garden Oaks. Now, again, I can click data in the top right-hand corner, and I can see the exact percentage there. So for last month in Garden Oaks, the closed price to list price ratio was 98%. Okay, so they sold for 98% of what they were listed at last month. Okay. Now again, I can save this data. So if I hit save right up here in the top left-hand corner, I can name my statistic. Oops. And then I can save it as a preset, and I can choose whether or not I want it saved on the home screen. I'm going to save it again on the home screen again so you can see what that looks like, and then hit save a copy. Okay, and don't forget from here you can share this data as well. So I can export onto a CSV file right down here. When I'm in the data view, I can export to CSV, and then I can also print or email this information as well. So going back to my home screen one more time, we see under my stats, I now see sale to list price ratios for Garden Oaks. So there's my Magnolia Creek one that we just did and Garden Oaks that we just did. Okay. So I would encourage you, it's a new month, so you've got some data from last month to play with, and then of course previous months. I would encourage you to come in here, click on stats, and create some of these create some of your own presets for areas that you list and sell in. And again, I was being very specific with doing a subdivision, but not specific to where I was doing criteria for particular, home styles and things like that. Maybe I just wanted to see very generally, I wanted to know what happened in, League City, right? Not so much Magnolia Creek or, a particular part of League City, but just League City as a whole. Or maybe League City, but also only a certain part of League City. So I can go draw on the map. Maybe I'm wanting to do just the west part of League City or just the east part of League City, right? So you can be as specific as you want with these. So I would encourage you to do this for the areas that you list and sell in. Save them. You see how easy it is to create. Save them, though, so that you can save yourself time later on by just clicking on it, and then you have your new data for whatever information that you're wanting to find. Okay, so let me go ahead and take a look. I know we had a couple questions pop up here. So a lot of people saying good morning and happy Monday. Good morning and happy Monday to you guys as well. Marvelous Monday. I love a good alliteration, Shandale. All right, how to optimize your screen. So that, a lot of people do ask that. I'll go ahead and address that just because a lot of people ask that about Matrix. It depends on the browser that you're using. I'm in Google Chrome, so if you see those three dots in the top right-hand corner, I can actually zoom in or zoom out. So you see I'm zoomed to 125% right now, so I can zoom in or zoom out. And a lot of people ask that because Matrix, it looks great on a tablet, but a lot of times, depending on your screen size, you might need to zoom that in. So that's the answer to that there, Akbar. All right. So David asked, when is the data updated, monthly, weekly, or daily? That's a great question. So it's only, the second day of the month right now, so we didn't really see data for July on some of these. Something would have needed to have closed yesterday or this morning for it to generate. But this is just like Matrix is, it's constantly being updated. So I may pull this up later today and see data, closed information on properties and things like that. So it groups it, as you saw, monthly. That's how I chose to group it, but it will have day per day, it will have new information in there. So that's a great question. If you maybe just wanted to know what happened that first week of July, right, I could see that information. Okie doke. So let's see here. Is there a way to get average DOM for a specific area? I know we have average DOM for list price median. I don't see that here, but we do have that. If you are an MLS Platinum subscriber, the Market Insight tool does provide that information, the average DOM, and you can customize the criteria that it's used on that as well. I don't see that on this one specifically, but might be something that you look at in the Market Insight tool. The average DOM versus list price median, it might be able to show you some information on that, but let's see. So I see the DOM. Okay, yeah, so you can see it on this one, David. So the average DOM, I can see that versus the list price, but if all you really care about is the average DOM, then there it is. And again, I'm looking at smooth line, but if it's easier for you to read columns, you can always regenerate that to show you the average DOM on columns, and then click data to see the exact numbers. Luz asked if there's a way to see past Facebook Lives or Member Focus Mondays. Yes, there is, and you'll actually be able to see this one from the very beginning. After we're done with this, it will post to HAR's Facebook page. So if you go to the video section of HAR's Facebook page, you can rewatch this one from the beginning, and you can see previous ones as well. So previous Member Focus Mondays as well. So sales price versus square foot ratio, we don't have a preset for that one in here. I can do a little more investigating, Bren, and get back with you on that, but I don't see a preset for that in here. Yeah, and Cheryl's asking for that as well. Yeah. Okay, so I don't see any other questions. You guys, a couple people said about sold price by square foot. I see you guys asking that. I don't see that as a preview in here, so there's a preset in here. That's something I could definitely ask about and get back with you guys. I'll comment on this video after the fact with an answer for you guys on that. So if you have any questions after this, feel free to shoot them my way. I do see another question popped up. There are sold under 100,000. I think I understand the question. You're just saying, are there properties sold under $100,000? The answer to that is yes. And you can actually search by that. So if I wanted to see what happened in properties in League City, single family, under $100,000, it would just be like searching, when you're searching for listings, I could do 100 minus there to search for 100,000 and under. Okay. Will the data update automatically? Can I send it to my clients so they see changes monthly and weekly? So couple part question there. So the data does update automatically. So I mentioned that I can completely go away from this, come back to this, and for example, this one here, sell to list price ratios in Bel Air. I haven't pulled this one up in months, but if I click on it, I'm going to see the most current data there. So yes, it does update the data automatically, Philip. Can you send it to your client so they can see the changes monthly and weekly? Yes, but it would be done manually. There is no way to automatically have this sent. Now, again, we do have, for any of you that are MLS Platinum subscribers, we do have that Market Insight tool that does send data like this automatically. So you can have it sent weekly or monthly using that Market Insight tool. So that might be something to consider if you're wanting something sent automatically, but this you would just have to manually run and send for it to be sent to your clients, Philip. And Susan, yes, you're correct. You can get that information that people were asking about, the sold to list price ratios, the average days on market. You can get it from doing the CMA. So you just have to do the investigating manually a little bit more than what this provides. Okay, so that's all the questions that I see for today. Oh, I'm sorry. How do you get the Market Insight info? Excuse me. So let me go back to HAR really quick. So when you log into HAR, The easiest way to access it, if you see this quick search here, if you start typing in market insight or the word market even, you'll see market insight come up there. So you can actually create market insights in here for prospective listings, for current listings. So you have options there, and I can just show you a little preview of what it looks like. It's this right here, and this would go out to your clients either weekly or monthly based on whatever you choose. All right, so I'm going to put up my email address on the screen for you. If you have questions after today, please feel free to shoot them my way. It's just Christina with no H at har.com. So if you have questions about any HAR class or questions about anything we covered today, feel free to shoot that my way. Thank you guys for joining. I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.